everyone, Baker on the Dark Side. So here we are. I have a special dessert that I'm making for my daughter who's coming home from college. So it's one that I haven't made in a really long time, but it's got different components to it. It's called Mississippi Mud Pie. I think it originated in the South. Don't quote me. But it has a kind of a, even though it's a Mississippi mud pie, there's like a cake component to it. So my flourless chocolate cake that I made before, we're gonna half that and we're gonna make that as one of the layers. So the first thing you have to do though is you gotta make the crust. So I have 2 cups of cocoa Teddy Grahams. I find that Teddy Grahams are a little bit sweeter. You don't have to add the sugar. It also is easy to chop up, but you can use Oreos. You could use chocolate wafer cookies that come in the stack with the yellow box. You can use regular graham crackers and add your own cocoa powder. In case you didn't know, you could make your own chocolate graham crackers. And then, of course, chocolate graham crackers. Okay, so I've got 2 cups of Teddy Grahams in here. And because Mississippi mud pie is supposed to be mud pie, I like it to be a little more chocolatey. So I am going to add some cocoa to this. Probably like, I would say use it at your discretion, but I am going to do about a tablespoon. I just want to add a little more chocolateness to the chocolate. And these are already pretty sweet, so I'm not going to add sugar to this. So we're just going to grind. You just want to make sure that they're really smooth. And I usually just give it a turn. Make sure I don't see any chunks in there. It looks good. So now we're going to add the melted butter. Now, this is what I say about the melted butter. I have 1 stick of butter in here. I may need all of it. I may not. I think every time it kind of depends. You want it to be able to be greasy enough that you can press it down and it'll form a cohesive bottom once it's baked. But you don't want it so greasy that there's oil coming out of everything and it turns into just mud. No, in this case, I don't want it to be mud. So I'm going to turn this on. And I'm going to put like half of it. And then see what it looks like. And I'm going to show you the comparison here. So here it is. I've put half in. And it is kind of still, see, it's not forming anything. It's definitely pretty dry still. So I need a little bit more. I'm going to add a tablespoon at a time. I think that might have done it. So let's see. Let me take this out because this looks right. It's kind of got that forms. See how it forms into that? It doesn't break apart. A little bit, but not a ton. And so I didn't need all of that butter. So now I am going to make this into a 8-inch cheesecake pan. And the reason I'm doing that instead of a pie is because this is pretty deep and I want it to be easy to cut so you can take the sides off a cheesecake pan. All right, so this is going to go on the bottom. And this is just the crust, really easy crust. And so I'm going to push it in the bottom. And you want it to be very cohesive. And then I'm just going to put it a little bit up the sides. Not a lot, just a little. And the only reason I'm doing this, putting it up the sides, is to go over the lip, the part that meets the side where the springform pan is, so that the filling doesn't drip out. So it's not really so much to go up the whole sides. This is not going to be that big. It's just a little bit up the sides to just seal it. Okay. And so now we've got that in there. I use gloves. So I have that in there. And so now it's in there, okay? And I put this on the outside, and I always do this with my cheesecakes, with anything. With cheesecakes, I actually double wrap it because I work with water in the cheesecakes. But this is to also keep it from coming out onto your oven as well, or cookie sheet. This is just an extra added protection. So I'm going to bake this at 350 for about 7 to 10 minutes, and then I'm going to move on to making the flourless chocolate cake, which you've seen me do before, but I'm going to show you really quickly how that goes. All right, see you again. Hi everyone. Okay, we're back. The crust has baked, and just so you can see it, it's just really dry. It looks like a dry, you know, like a chocolate cookie, okay? No shine to it. That's the way you want it. Okay, that's the way you want it to be. All right, so now we're gonna go on to the cakey layer, the fudge layer. And as I told you, this is from my flourless chocolate cake recipe. You can look it up on the other video. We're gonna half it, so it's just gonna be half of that recipe. So this is 3 ounces of semi-sweet chocolate and the butter in here. And then we are going to add the eggs. So instead of 6, we're doing the 3 eggs because that's the half recipe. And I'm going to stir that up. I'm going to do this quickly because I don't want these eggs to cook in any way. The chocolate was a little warm, but not terrible, but you still don't want to take chances. Nobody wants scrambled eggs in their chocolate cake. All right, so I'm mixing that up pretty fast. Nice shiny. Okay, and then I'm going to add half a teaspoon of the vanilla. So this is still halving the recipe, as I said, because we don't need as much, because this is just a component. Okay, so I've put the vanilla in. As I told you, you can use coffee if you want that flavor. My daughter doesn't like coffee, so we're not putting that in. Then we're going to add the sugar. So I've half the sugar, white sugar, going in. I think I'm going to use a whip for this because there's a couple little chunks in there. Ooh, whips, where's my whips? There it is. I got it. Don't worry, crisis averted. All right, I just want to whip this up. Some moisture in the sugar there. Okay, there's that. I don't want to keep putting air into it, so I'm going to switch back to the spatula. Okay, now the cocoa powder, so half the cocoa powder. All right. And we're going to fold that in and get that in there. And this will be that fudge layer. I don't know why they call it Mississippi mud pie, but I should look that up, right? We used to do a bunch of these, little versions though, when I was a commercial baker. Let me tell you, it's hard to keep this kitchen clean with this chocolate and cocoa flying around. You know how it goes. Oh, look, more just went onto the counter. Oh, man. Not fun. Okay. All right. We're almost there. And we're back to our wonderful flourless chocolate cake. So, that's going to go to the side, because that's just one component. I'm not ready to use that yet. Now, we're going back to the food processor because we have to make the third component. And this is the topping. So this topping is kind of like making your own decadent cookie crumble. And so what we're going to do is we're going to put in the brown sugar. So half a cup of brown sugar, dark or light, whichever you want. Quarter cup of flour going in. Quarter cup of cocoa going in. All right, we're gonna just get this in the processor and mix it up. All right, doesn't take long to mix it up. Oh, yeah, the cocoa cloud. Okay, whew, I think I have cocoa up my nose now. All right, 2 cups of Teddy Grahams or chocolate graham crackers or Oreos or whatever chocolate cookie floats your boat. Go for it. I'm gonna put that in. All right, so now I've got this all in there. I am going to, you know it, grate my butter into the food processor as quickly as possible. This is only 4 tablespoons. It's cold, I think. Okay. Once again, this is a judgment call. Hopefully, you know, this will be enough. Sometimes it depends on the humidity and all sorts of scientific things that I don't understand. Okay, so now we're gonna pulse this. This is not the way I want it. No. I want more. I need more butter. All right, so we're gonna grate some more butter. I'm gonna put in like 2 more tablespoons. I try to get away with less butter, but you know, for health reasons. Okay, let's see where this is at. Okay, it's getting closer. You want it to be kind of chunky. You want it to be like a cookie crumble, but you want the cookie to get chunky. Okay, so it looks like I'm debating. All right, I'm gonna do it. I just don't want to overdo the butter, because if you do, then you got a greasy mess on your hands and nobody wants that. I just want it a little bit chunkier than this. So, all right, I'm going for it. A little more butter. So I'm using the whole stick. Originally I thought I was gonna just use 4 tablespoons. But like I said, you just never know. Sometimes you just gotta wing it, and you gotta see what it looks like. Let's see, a little bit more, just a tad more. I can still see the butter, because you don't want it to turn into a cookie dough. That's what you don't want. You don't want it to be one big dough, because then you're breaking it apart yourself. Okay, I got it the way I want it, I think. All right, so now I've got this cookie dough. You see this, like a crumbly cookie dough that kind of forms into whatever you want it to, as big of pieces as you want. I'm going to throw just a little bit, not much, but a little bit, chocolate chips in there. Now, for the people that love nuts, you can put your nuts in here too at this time. My daughter doesn't like nuts. Told you, I'm the only one that likes nuts in this house. I don't know. Takes one to know one, love one. I don't know. All right. I have made a huge mess. It's like I've been making mud pies. Kind of hard to work when your hands are coated with chocolate. All right. Thanks for being patient today. Okay, so now we're going to get our baked crust. I'm going to preheat my oven to 350. Okay. We're going to pour our chocolate flourless cake into the bottom. Which smells amazing. Okay. remember, you know, we're making a pie. Kind of making a pie. Cake pie. A pie caking. Okay. So now you can see this. I want you to see it, so you see it, okay? It's not very high, okay. Now, you're gonna take this crust, this cookie crumble that you made, and it's up to you how you wanna handle it. You can make big chunks here and there. You can just throw it in any way you want. The important thing is that you want to get this all on top. Now, it's gonna sink a little. Don't press it down. Don't throw, you know, just keep it where, however it lands, okay? It does look like you're making a mud pie. And it doesn't matter if some of the cake is coming through. It's okay. Don't be alarmed. Don't cry. And I'm not pressing down on this. I'm just kind of getting it in there. And there it is. See it? Okay. We're going to bake this for about 30 to 35 minutes. And then what happens is we cool it, and then we will drizzle it with more chocolate because there's not enough chocolate in here. No, you need more. All right, everybody, thanks for hanging in with me, and subscribe if you're having fun. Thanks.